Do you think the 1978 Superman movie holds up almost 50 years later? We just saw it and we have some thoughts.
There's a lot that I do enjoy about this movie. First of all, Christopher Reeve. I think he, for the time, and even now, I think just seeing pictures of the guy when he was young, I think he looks the part.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was what I read when I have read Superman comics. When I see him on the big screen, that's what Superman's supposed to be. He smiles all the time. He says cheesy, really cheesy lines, even cheesier than David's. When he's telling Lois, "I never lie," things like that. When he gives her an interview, he's the guy Superman. I mean, as soon as you see him on screen, he's even a good Clark. I mean, he's just dorky, out of place, clumsy as hell, and it's all done on purpose, of course. And so it just fits. He's this really tall dude. Even when he's Clark, he's just really, really big. And when you see him in the suit, you're like, yeah, that's Superman, man. I mean, he stands, I don't know what, like 6'7". He's a tall dude. He gained like 100 and something pounds for the role. He's one of the main parts that I like. I also really enjoy seeing Krypton. And I know I probably say this every time we do a Superman movie. I just like Krypton. I like Krypton. And to me, this was the first time I ever saw Krypton outside of comics. And so for a while there, that stuck. It even translated to some of the animated stuff that Krypton was just this
get how you can like this Krypton. That
big,
makes no sense.
icy ass planet. I don't know, man. A lot of it is nostalgia, but I just like, this is what they were able to do for the time.
I get that, but this is like how you did like Neon Gotham, where you did like neon everywhere. That's almost the equivalent of this. This makes absolutely no sense.
No, I mean, Neon Gotham, just everything was neon in that fucking, even
why is everything ice on Krypton?
I don't know.
Or crystal. That makes no sense.
You'd have to ask.
We've seen Krypton in the comics since 39.
I know, but I guess this is just the way they translated it. I don't know what to tell you, but for the first time that I saw it on the big screen or on TV or whatever, something about it clicked. Of course, we don't see much of it, but what we did see, I liked. I did like Brando in the role of, there's a bit of a love and hate relationship there. I did like him in the role of Jor-El. I like the actress that played Lois Lane. I liked seeing Kryptonite when we saw it. Again, this is the first time I'd seen it in live action, so I like seeing Kryptonite. I like seeing some of the power sets given the time. I also like seeing the Fortress of Solitude. Seeing him, as a teenager, go to the Fortress of Solitude where he throws the crystal in and comes up out of the ice. Thought that was dope, and that's sadly about as much as I liked about this movie.
Last night was the first time I've ever seen this movie, so my view is not touched by nostalgia, and I very much am aware this is a product of the times, and that for the times, they did, I wouldn't say all they could, but this was the superhero genre. Like, we had Adam West Batman, and going into this, it was a bit more campy. They want to do it with Superman, and this launched a franchise. I get that, and I respect that, but by far the best part about this movie was Christopher Reeves. Christopher Reeves is amazing in the role for everything Edward said. I love how, in that one scene in Lois's apartment, how he thought about telling Lois that he's Superman, and watching him visually change from Clark to Superman persona, where you don't realize how much he's actually doing as Clark until that scene. And like how he tries to take up like as little presence as possible. He's clumsy, meeker, mild-mannered reporter, and then he stands up tall and gets 3 inches taller.
That's great,
I love
by
that.
the way.
Christopher Reeve.
You're absolutely. I mean, there's that several scenes where he does that, where he's slouching, and he has his glasses all and his coat all hanging with his briefcase. He looks like such a dork that you'd never tell. But then when he's about to, do the Superman thing, all the dude does is put his crap down, stand up straight, and you're right. Mm-hmm. He looks 3 inches taller. That's incredible to be able to do, because not a lot of actors can do that. I mean, you always look your size. This dude's able to look. I don't know who told him that, the director or somebody from staff, but the fact that he was able to do, because he does look like a different person.
Yeah,
he doesn't change his hair or anything. Dude just stands up straight. And seeing myself do that, it does make it. I mean, when you slouch, you look different. It's just his mannerisms, but the fact that he's able to do that and make such a change is a credit to his acting skills.
I even like how during the movie when there was the helicopter crash and when Lois was traumatized and before she fainted, how he still said that flying is the safest form of transportation and hope it doesn't dissuade her from flying more. I thought it was a funny line. I like how back in his high school days they did introduce Lana Lang, as that's a very much forgotten Superman character. As you always think of Lois Lane as the main love interest, but Lana Lang was there for a very long time. I like how they do continue with Jonathan Kent dying, as it is very important that at some point in Superman's career, it doesn't have to be early, it can be later, that Jonathan Kent does die. But I think it was kind of a dumb way for him to die, just keel over right after he's introduced. I wish they did a little bit more with it, especially since the lesson that he learned there was never really shown much in the movie. He didn't even need to die in this movie. That's about it. That's about all I liked. I feel like there are so many things that went wrong with this movie. I don't know if why people like this movie so much is purely nostalgia. As a kid, I doubt you're gonna have as many issues with this as Edward said when he was growing up. But I'll start off with Marlon Brando. I think, yes, he did well in the role of Jor-El, but if one of your main actors, he was the big title actor to sign on to this role.
Yeah, he's the one that cost them the money. Like if
he was $2 million.
If you're wondering where the money went, Brando.
It's Marlon Brando. He couldn't pronounce the word Krypton correctly, which was awful. I hated that every single time. I don't care if it's on purpose or not.
It was awful. And this is where my love and hate comes from Brando. Brando's like Jack Nicholson. He's one of these notorious actors who, by the time you're hiring him to do the Donner Superman film, he's A-list, Hollywood royalty, or at least in his mind. Brando was a notorious prick. He was one of these guys who won an Oscar, didn't go to...
Won two at this point.
To receive it. Because he had some stance against... I'm not sure what it is, so I'm not going to get into it, but he didn't go. In The Godfather, he made Francis Ford Coppola jump through hoops for all kinds of stuff. And this is just the way the dude was. So could he have pronounced the word Krypton? I'm sure someone could have told him, hey, this is how you actually pronounce it. He just chose not to. Just like...
But I mean, he also didn't read the script. He
never read the
script. Out of the trailer with food. They had cue cards everywhere for him. He was just... Why would you spend millions of dollars? I get it. You're doing it for the name because people don't want to go see a superhero movie otherwise.
That's exactly it.
Was it really worth it? I know it's why, but that sucks. Also, I don't think I missed anything. But in this movie, they state it takes 3 years to get from Krypton to Earth. Totally fine. But then why
those credits seem like 3 years.
True. But then why did Jor-El say he's been dead for thousands of years?
It leads me back to the Snyder film where, Zack claims that, and it's even in the movie. It's not Zack. It's just in the movie where there's been a Kryptonian ship that's been lodged into the Arctic for
it makes no fucking
thousands
sense.
of years.
Yeah, and then Krypton. I know Edward said he liked it. That's totally fine if you do. I do think it's a unique iteration, but why? Ever since that, well, at the start, because Krypton's gone through many different iterations since it's been introduced. It was originally like a world that's very similar to Earth, and then it's gone more and more scientific and been a lot more advanced. I don't get why they went with the ice, especially since we've seen a lot of panels of Krypton. Why the ice and crystals? I think they're trying to do it just to kind of mimic the Fortress of Solitude, but I don't necessarily get it. I also don't get the costuming for everyone on Krypton. With all the tinfoil. The tinfoil was terrible.
I'm not even going to try to defend that's
yeah, it made all
crap.
the lights just bounce right off of it, where everything else was so dark you couldn't even really see the actors' faces as they're just glowing white with all this tinfoil.
Especially in that red scene.
Yeah. And one question I do have for everyone in the comments and Edward, do you ever think about what would happen? And I think this could be a fun what if story or an Elseworld story if DC were ever to do it. But what if Jor-El was wrong about his predictions for Krypton? What do you think would happen then? Because I think that could be something interesting to explore.
Well, we wouldn't have Superman.
Or he still could send his baby off thinking he's right. But then the planet's still there 30 days later. What would happen?
Superman would grow up without parents for no damn reason. Well, not without parents, because he's got Jonathan Kent and Martha, but it's... I can't say Martha without thinking about BVS. I apologize. I just fucking can't.
Yeah, that movie scarred us. And then the last bit for early in the movie is Zod. Zod looks like... God. I can't take it seriously. His costuming and his trio just looks like the band ABBA. They look like this 60s, 70s band. I don't get it. I don't get why they did that. I don't get The Phantom Zone, which is just this mirror. I get maybe for budget, but seriously, the costuming at the start was awful. I don't get that whatsoever.
No, I agree.
I know that you, Edward, said that you did enjoy Lois Lane here. I very much didn't, actually. I think the actress did everything she could. I don't think anything here was her fault. But Lois Lane in this movie is a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, right? So
With
why does she
typewriter.
struggle still? Yeah. Why does she struggle to spell all these words?
I don't know, man.
You write for a fucking profession.
I
And
don't
you
know,
can't
dude.
spell.
To be fair, even I've
I
been
think it's
guilty
sexist
of
jokes. I think that's it.
No. Even I've been guilty of that. Like, and you've caught me.
Oh,
on that.
I
I'm
know.
Like, dude, that's
Trust me,
misspelled.
Yeah,
the amount
but-
of people that I know that are not only women that are, like I'm talking about. I don't want to put anyone down, but I'm talking about people with college level educations with,
Oh, no, I totally get that. But her
That
job is to
misspell.
write and to spell correctly. Not to mention, especially with a typewriter, in that day and age where you have to, like, be very meticulous with your spelling. I get, like, double checking with Jimmy, sure, but the number of articles she submitted that has spelling errors that hasn't been checked,
I think
I
it
don't
was
get
just
it.
for more of the comedy of it.
I think so,
Just
yeah.
make
I do
people
think it
laugh.
was... I get it, yeah.
Kind of
I
like
do
Perry
agree that,
White yelling
again,
all the damn time.
Perry White's always yelled, though. I feel like in every single Perry White iteration, he's always yelling. That's
Did
always
he
just how
yell-
I grown up knowing him.
Did he yell this time around then?
No, true. But he did, like, the Adventures of Superman and the animated Superman cartoons. He always yelled. He always, like, this is kind of how he was. But you're right. You're very much right there. There's just a lot of small things with Lois Lane. She did seem to be a lot more comedic relief, where it may have been funny in the times that just kind of made me roll my eyes now. And one of those things that kind of may have been for the times, again, with, like, Adam West Batman, a lot more dumber comedic villains, is Lex Luthor. Lex, Otis, and Eve here is just essentially the Three Stooges. That's all it was. They were just the Three Stooges throughout this entire film. Superman and Lex Luthor didn't even talk till like the last 20 minutes of the film, and they only met that one time, and that's it. They didn't interact at all. And I don't like the Lex iteration here. I don't get why he wasn't more of this public figure, and why was the police even investigating him in the first place?
He was already some
lot
sort of underground criminal. Like
But okay, sure. Let's go with that. And let's go with then he's this famous criminal. Let's go with it. But then the fact that at the end no one recognized him, and then why was he still then this wealthy businessman? Why wasn't all of his assets frozen? And if he's being this well-known criminal, like the reason why Lex Luthor works in the comics is because he's able to get around the law and skirt around it, whereas here it's just downright treason and espionage. It just doesn't make sense to me. Also, like, the way he dressed reminds me of, like, Willy Wonka or, like, the fifth iteration of Doctor Who. He didn't really...
No, I look, listen,
that
I'm
well
not
for
gonna
me.
fight you on it. One of
Oh,
the
I
biggest
know.
things for me is Lex Luthor. I mean, Lex Luthor absolutely has to work, and he doesn't work here. I mean, Gene Hackman. There's so many things that I didn't like about this movie, as opposed to the few things that I did like. I didn't like Lex Luthor, but it's very difficult for me to like Lex Luthor. I just recently liked Luthor. First of all, he's not bald, and he's not bald not because
Well, he's bald, kinda.
he wears a toupee, but he refused for most scenes, Gene Hackman, to appear bald throughout the movie. He just was like, I'm not doing it. And this is more aligns with Griff said about Marlon Brando. Why then cast an actor who's so difficult and is going to make your basically come as a director? I personally, and I'm not a director, but I personally wouldn't hire an actor that's not going to do what I ask. It's just weird. Why hire someone who's to work for you who's not going to be willing to do what you actually ask of them? It was more comedic, and I don't like a comedic Lex Luthor. It doesn't work for me. It's very Jesse Eisenberg ish. Too over the top. Three Stooges. His henchman, what's his name?
Otis.
I mean,
He didn't need to be there. He was purely comedic relief.
And Luthor's plans for dominance is always in most live action movies. It always involves some sort of real estate type scheme or some sort of earthquake, even in the latest one. And I'm not a fan. I mean, there's more that he can do here. There was no
Young Justice showed it well what he could do.
None of the animosity towards Superman as to, oh, he's this Kryptonian, he's this alien, and also Luthor. I know that in the comics and in lore, he's genius level intellect. But the fact that without having ever met Superman, he's just like, yeah, he's from another planet, and oh, shards of
Well, for
dirt
that, he
from
was
his
reading
planet.
Lois's article.
Yeah, but it's very convenient that all of a sudden
There's so many things in this movie that were so overly top convenient. Like, that's everything in the plot was just done purely for convenience, and they couldn't figure out a way and didn't think people would care. And maybe they didn't back then.
I didn't like
I
Lex. But again, it's also I very much like a more intellectual, genius level, evil scientist, angry at Superman for no fucking reason villain, and that's what we got in the latest James Gunn. It's hard to review these types of things without comparing them even to the most present Supermans. But Christopher Reeve, out of the Supermans that we've had, I think is one of the better ones.
One of the best for sure.
I don't think that this movie, and I've seen people, and Griffin told me that people in the comments are saying that this is like the Superman movie, and then it's the rest. I don't think so, man. I very much enjoyed,
if it is,
for better or for
good for
worse,
you, but
Man of Steel over this. It gave us
I would agree. Man of Steel was more entertaining.
This podcast, I agree with Griffin. We barely saw him. He was a sweet old man. First of all, I thought they were way too old by the time they found Clark, and we didn't see much of him. We saw him find Clark, and I think
he died in the same scene he was introduced.
The very next scene, he dies out of a heart attack. He dies of a heart attack, I believe, in Smallville as well. I don't mind that too much. It's just we should have seen more. And I agree with Griffin. There's a lesson learned there about losing your father that didn't really follow into the film later on. I mean, even with Man of Steel, it resonates with him. He lost his dad, and he even tells people
here he
that
died just to die.
Yeah, he just died just to die here, and I was like, why did he die so soon? Why didn't we see more of him, like with his son? He would have been proud of his son being this reporter and stuff like that. I don't like General Zod and his other Kryptonian buddies. I never liked what they were wearing. I every time I saw this, I was like, what the hell are they wearing? Griff mentioned a band. He mentioned ABBA, and I was like, I don't know who the hell they are. And I'm looking at them right now, and that's they look like they're part of that group. Also, because he's a general, he's supposed to be wearing. That's just not what a general wears. It looks like they're disco dancing, and they're.
Why isn't he wearing like black tinfoil then? If every clothes are made out of tinfoil, why isn't he wearing black tinfoil?
I don't know. It makes no sense. And then the one of the villains is just some, essentially just a zombie. Doesn't even talk. One of the other evil Kryptonians. So yeah, it's just, I think people like this, if they're being honest with themselves, plainly for nostalgia reasons, and that's fine.
That's fine. That's totally okay.
It's not a great film. I mean,
there
are things in it that are good, but that doesn't make it a great film.
For those who do like this film, please explain this to me. Superman time traveling. Guys,
that shit doesn't make any sense.
The science is proven to be dumb. Okay, if we stop the rotation of the Earth, guess what?
We all die.
We're all dead on the spot. We go hurtling out into space at 40,000 miles per hour? It may even be more. I don't remember the exact number, but everything would collapse. We would all be dead. Not to mention, it was terrible.
But I'm not defending the film, but time traveling never makes any fucking sense in any film that I've seen.
Sometimes it does make sense when it's rooted in actual science. Or theoretical science, because it's still science fiction. But here, there is no
best I've seen it ever work. This. I don't even like it in Endgame. If people go, oh, you're going to be okay with it, I don't even like it in Endgame. I think in Endgame it's dumb as fuck because they're in some other dimension and they come out at another point in time. The only time it's actually, I've been able to at least, suspense or pause my disbelief is in Terminator. At least in the first two. Because at least, like Griff says, there's some level of BS science to it. Like, where, they're not allowed to come in with weapons. They just come naked because of the electromagnetic field or whatever. And if you throw metal in there, it just fries it. Okay, I could kind of... It's still bullshit, but it's more believable. Here's Superman flying to outer space and then just...
I hated that scene.
Flying around the Earth. Even if he were to time travel with it, I think it would cause more harm than good. Because, shit would just spin out of control. The way he's getting the Earth to spin that fast for, a minute or so.
Yeah.
It's stupid. But that's like, to me, I
That's
also
more of a nitpick, I would say.
Yeah, because that's also like, well, but you can't believe that, but you can believe that some asshole from
Yeah.
another planet can fly on Earth. I get it.
Exactly.
I get it. It's nitpicky,
But
but some of
it
this shit's a little
is.
weird.
Yeah. Honestly, overall, this movie is just extremely boring. The plot doesn't start till like 40, 45 minutes in. I never really felt entertained. There were moments when I was more entertained, like seeing Christopher Reeve, seeing everyone's reaction to Superman. But overall, I was bored out of my mind, and this movie felt long as hell. I said to Edward before recording, I'd watch The Acolyte again over this.
God,
I would
no.
watch a lot of things I didn't like over
I don't know
this.
what the hell Griffin smoked this morning before we started recording.
This movie's
But
boring.
but to his credit, he's seen The Acolyte once. I've seen that shit
Yeah.
twice, and it is
Well, okay, my
trash.
enjoyment watching The Acolyte the first time, I was a lot more entertained, and the 40 minutes went by faster than this.
yeah. There's
That's how I'll judge it.
this is not a great movie, but I wouldn't say that it's trash. The Acolyte is
I
trash.
would say it's trash. I respect what it did, but it did not hold up almost 50 years later. That's how it is for me, especially without any of the nostalgia attached to it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let us know what you thought about the 1978 Superman movie. And if you enjoyed our review for this, you can check out our review for the new James Gunn Superman movie.